A BMW X5 loses £36,230 in pure depreciation over just 3 years of ownership. That's not a percentage rounded off to sound manageable in a glossy brochure or a finance broker's pitch. That's actual cash, gone for good, in the time it takes to finish a standard finance agreement on the car. Enough to buy 2 brand new Dacia Dusters outright, tax and registration included, and still have change left over for the first year's insurance. The Duster, meanwhile, loses roughly £7,000 over that exact same 3-year period. Same ownership window, same country, same road, same weather wearing down both cars equally over time, and one badge is quietly setting fire to 5 times the money for the privilege of simply carrying it on the bonnet. This channel pulled apart the reliability data, the insurance ratings, the repair bills, and the actual sales figures behind both cars to work out exactly where that money goes, and who's really buying the X5 in the first place once the fleet numbers are stripped out. Subscribe if you want the next one of these before the dealership finance calculator gets to explain it to you their way instead of this one. When we posted the 13,000 car that destroyed BMW and Mercedes, that was one Dacia saloon taking on 2 premium badges at once, and it became one of the biggest videos this channel has ever put out, watched by far more people than either German brand's own marketing budget would ever admit was possible. This is the SUV version, one-on-one, with the specific receipts nobody's bothered pulling together before now. And the Duster isn't just Britain's problem for BMW, it's been the best-selling SUV to private buyers across the whole of Europe since 2018, which makes this a continental story wearing a UK price tag. Start with what each car is actually built to be, because the 2 engineering philosophies explain everything that follows rather than sitting as background trivia. The current Duster runs proven low-stress mechanicals lifted straight from the wider Renault-Nissan-Mitsubishi alliance, tested across millions of miles on other badges before any of it ever reached a Duster. Starting from £18,745 for the entry TCE bi-fuel and topping out at around £27,345 for the full hybrid range. And a used example can be picked up for closer to £15,000 without much searching required. McPherson strut front suspension, a simple torsion beam or multi-link rear end. Nothing electronically damped, nothing that needs a software update to function correctly. On the used market specifically, the average Duster changed hands for just £11,161 in 2023, which tells you how genuinely accessible this car is even before factoring in a finance deal. An entire second-hand Duster costs less than the deposit some buyers put down on a new X5. The X5 sits at the complete opposite end of the spectrum, starting at £75,860 for the entry xDrive 30D X-Line and climbing well past £101,110 for the M60i, with standard xDrive all-wheel drive, optional adaptive air suspension, active anti-roll stabilization, and on the plug-in hybrid variant, a full high-voltage hybrid system bolted onto a car that already weighs over 2 tons before you've added a passenger. The reliability data alone should already be uncomfortable reading for anyone who's ever assumed the badge automatically buys dependability along with the prestige. The Duster scored 99% in the latest What Car Reliability survey, with Dacia as a brand posting an overall 94.4%. The kind of number that means the overwhelming majority of owners report precisely nothing wrong across a full year of driving, and the minority who do see an issue are usually looking at a cheap sensor fault or a DPF blockage from short urban runs rather than anything structural. The BMW X5 standard petrol and diesel variants manage a respectable 96.2% on their own, genuinely solid numbers that wouldn't embarrass any manufacturer, but the plug-in hybrid variant, increasingly the version BMW actually wants to sell, for reasons about to make a lot more sense, scored just 89.7%, the worst result in its entire luxury class, with fault rates in specific cohorts running as high as 28%. 2 separate powertrains, a turbocharged 6-cylinder engine synchronized with a high-voltage battery and motor system, mean 2 separate families of things that can go wrong at once rather than one, and the survey data shows exactly that happening in owners' actual driveways rather than staying a theoretical risk on paper. Here's the detail that should genuinely change how you read those numbers, though, because raw failure rates alone don't tell the whole story of why a car actually fails an inspection. Germany's own TÜV report, drawn from roughly 9.5 million annual inspections and the closest EU equivalent to a UK MOT, shows the Duster's failure rate climbing from 16.2% at 2 to 3 years old to 24.3% at 6 to 7 years and 34.1% by the 10 to 11 year mark. A real number, but one independent mechanics traced directly back to how the car is actually used rather than how it was built. Dusters get driven down unpaved farm tracks and across genuinely rough rural terrain that a car costing 4 times as much would simply never be asked to cover. which accelerates suspension wear and exposes thinner sheet metal to corrosion faster than a gentler life would. The BMW X5 and X6 platform posts a 20.4% failure rate at the same 6 to 7 year point, and it isn't accumulating that figure from agricultural abuse or a hard life on unmade roads. It's failing because of its own engineering turned against it. A curb weight regularly exceeding 2,400 kilograms on plug-in hybrid models places continuous, extreme stress on multi-link suspension joints, control arms, and braking components that were never given rough treatment to begin with. The car is quietly destroying itself under its own mass, parked on the same smooth suburban driveway every night. DVSA's own MOT data backs this up from a different angle entirely. Over a third of EVs and a third of hybrids that fail their first MOT do so specifically on tyre condition, because the combination of enormous weight and instant torque simply eats premium rubber faster than most owners think to check it. When something does actually break, the financial gap stops being close to comparable and becomes genuinely two different categories of ownership. A diagnostic check on Duster averages £61.85 and a full DPF replacement, one of the single most expensive jobs the car will ever realistically need across its whole life, comes in around £596.20. Using parts built in the kind of volume that keeps costs down across the entire Renault-Nissan-Mitsubishi alliance rather than a single low-volume premium supplier. The X5 operates in an entirely different financial world, one where routine maintenance and genuine failure start to look similar in price. Main dealer labour rate alone runs 120 to 180 quid an hour before a single part is fitted to the car. A basic front brake pad replacement, parts only, from an independent supplier runs £67.49 to £194.99. An owner's report being quoted 445 quid for the identical job done at a main dealership. More than some entire Duster services cost outright. Adaptive air suspension struts, the X-Drive transfer case, timing chain work on the older diesel variants. These aren't routine maintenance items on the X5. They're four-figure events that simply don't exist as a line item on the Duster service sheet at any age or mileage. Insurance follows the same exact curve, governed by the same Thatcher Research Group ratings every UK insurer actually prices against, rather than any figure either manufacturer publishes itself. The Duster sits between ABI Group 9 and Group 22, depending on trim and engine. A 2021 Duster Prestige TCE, for instance, rated at 22D, sitting comfortably in the lower half of the entire 50-point scale, translating to an average annual premium of roughly £595 to £731, a direct result of modest performance and genuinely cheap replacement parts that any body shop in the country can source without drama. The X5 sits at the top of the entire scale, Group 41 to 50, with premiums in the higher bands exceeding £1,006 a year before you've even factored in postcode or the specific M Sport or M60i trim, pushing the number further up. Thatcham's own methodology explains why. Over half of every pound collected in UK car insurance goes straight back out on vehicle damage repair, and the X5's aluminium bodywork, laser matrix headlights, and radar sensor-laden bumpers mean a minor front-end knock can easily generate a £5,000 to £8,000 repair bill on a car the Duster's equivalent bump would barely dent. Fuel and running costs widen the gap further, and this is where the Duster's engineering actually gets genuinely clever rather than merely cheap. The 1.0 EcoG 100 bi-fuel version carries a 50-litre petrol tank alongside a 50-litre autogas tank, giving a combined range up to 1,500 kilometers, 932 miles on a single pair of fill-ups. LPG has historically sat well below the price of unleaded across the UK and Europe, cutting running costs by up to 30% while lowering CO2 output, with the EcoG rated at 35 to 39 miles per gallon on gas and emissions of 116 to 127 grams per kilometer. For anyone wanting to go further, the hybrid 140 and 155 versions use a small 1.2 to 1.4 kilowatt-hour battery to run on electricity alone for up to 80% of a typical urban journey, returning over 55.4 miles per gallon combined. Genuinely strong numbers for a car costing a fraction of its rival. The X5's plug-in hybrid promises similarly strong figures on paper, built around a 25.7 kilowatt-hour battery, but only if the owner charges it religiously every single day. Let that battery run flat, which happens routinely on any longer motorway trip, and the car falls back entirely on a 3-litre turbocharged 6-cylinder engine hauling a vehicle weighing around 2,420 kilos, and real-world economy collapses well below the advertised figure. The Diesel X-Drive 30D is more honest about what it actually delivers, claiming up to 40.9 miles per gallon, but it carries high road tax and increasingly steep penalties in urban emission zones that the Duster simply never triggers. Servicing tells the same story in miniature. Dacia's fixed-price main dealer service plans start from just £13.99 a month, a number low enough to barely register against a household budget. Tyres expose the gap even more starkly. The Duster runs on straightforward 16 or 17-inch wheels with a 215/65R17 profile, with premium replacement rubber typically costing under £100 a corner. The X5's M Sport variants run staggered 21 or 22-inch alloys wrapped in wide, low-profile run-flat tyres, and a full set of premium 22-inch replacements can easily exceed £1,200 to £1,500. And given the tyre wear data already covered, the X5 owner will be paying that bill considerably more often than the Duster owner ever needs to. Now go back to that opening number, because this is where the whole story actually lands. The industry likes to quote depreciation in percentages, and on paper, the X5's roughly 54 to 60.3% 3-year retention doesn't sound dramatically worse than the Duster's 63.3%. A few percentage points, nothing to build a video around. Convert both into actual pounds, and the story changes entirely. A Duster hybrid bought new for around £19,000 is worth roughly £12,000 3 years later. A real loss of about £7,000, painful but survivable for most household budgets. An X5 xDrive 30D M Sport bought for £80,510, retaining a similar sounding 55%, is worth approximately £44,280 at the same 3-year mark, an absolute cash loss of £36,230. Expressed the only way that actually matters to a bank balance, the BMW owner has watched the equivalent of 2 brand new Dacia Dusters evaporate into thin air. For the privilege of a badge, while the Duster owner's loss wouldn't cover a single set of the X5's own optional 22-inch wheels. None of that depreciation is accidental either, and this is the reveal that should genuinely change how you read BMW's own sales figures. In 2025, BMW registered 122,723 cars in the UK, holding its position as the country's second best-selling brand outright, a number that looks like overwhelming public preference for the premium badge at first glance. Look at how the wider UK market actually splits, and the illusion collapses immediately. Private retail buyers, people spending their own post-tax money, accounted for just 38.6% of all UK new car registrations in 2025, 779,587 units out of 2,020,520. The remaining 61.4%, 1,240,933 cars, went through fleet and business registrations, heavily driven by the UK's benefit-in-kind company car tax system, which specifically subsidises low-emission plug-in hybrid luxury SUVs for company directors and fleet managers. The X5's headline sales volume isn't organic public preference. It's a tax structure doing the choosing on behalf of a company accountant, and those same leased X5s flood back onto the used market at exactly the 3-year point this video has been measuring, accelerating the very depreciation curve described above. Strip out the fleet numbers and look only at private individuals spending their own money, and the Duster has been Europe's best-selling EV to the exact same demographic since 2018. Not a UK quirk, a continent-wide pattern operating almost entirely outside the subsidized fleet sector BMW depends on. The wider market context makes this more relevant by the month rather than less, not some abstract statistic that only matters to accountants poring over its spreadsheet. The average age of a licensed car on UK roads hit 10 years at the end of 2024, up 16% since 2019, and 31% of cars on British roads are now over 12 years old, a genuinely record-breaking figure for the country as a whole. With the Bank of England base rate sitting around 3.75% in early 2026, and new car finance costing noticeably more to service every month as a direct result, private buyers using their own money are holding onto cars for longer and thinking considerably harder about total cost of ownership rather than badge prestige alone. Exactly the calculation this entire comparison has been running from the opening number onwards. None of that depreciation happens in a vacuum either. The secondary market has good reason to be nervous of an out-of-warranty X5, and that nervousness is exactly what suppresses the price a used buyer is willing to pay. Air suspension bladders fail and cost thousands to replace. Plug-in hybrid electric battery and module degradation on a car this complex is a genuine unknown once the manufacturer warranty runs out, not a hypothetical worry. A full ZF gearbox rebuild is the kind of bill that can exceed what a used Duster costs outright. Cab HPI's own data specifically flags large premium hybrids as facing severe depreciation pressure, Precisely because corporate fleets dump their 3-year-old lease cars onto a secondary market that's hesitant to absorb exactly those repair liabilities, which pushes the resale price down further and locks the depreciation curve in harder. It's a self-reinforcing cycle. The complexity that makes the X5 desirable when new is the same complexity that makes it frightening to buy once the warranty's gone, and the market prices that fear in every single time. The 2025 UK new car market overall recorded 2,020,520 registrations, up 3.5% on the year before, and BMW's 122,723 units genuinely made it the country's second best-selling brand on paper. Dacia, by contrast, registered 30,005 cars in the UK, actually down 4.6% year-on-year, a number that looks like defeat until you remember which slice of the market that comparison is actually being made against. BMW's total leans on the 61.4% of the market flowing through fleet and business channels. Dacia barely touches that channel at all, competing almost entirely for the much smaller, much harder one slice of buyers spending their own money, and still comes out as Europe's best-selling SUV to that exact demographic since 2018. Compared like for like against real people making a genuinely free choice with their own bank account rather than a company car scheme decided by an accountant, the picture BMW's own registration figures try to paint doesn't hold up. None of this means the X5 is a bad car in any engineering sense, and this channel isn't pretending otherwise. It's genuinely quick, genuinely capable, and genuinely well built for what it's asked to do. It means the badge is being paid for twice over, once at the point of sale and once again far more expensively. Every single year it sits on a driveway rather than a company car park. The Duster was never built to compete with the X5 on presence, on prestige, or on the way it makes a driveway look to a neighbor. The data now shows it doesn't need to compete on any of that at all. It just needs to still be there, insured affordably, running without drama, and worth something real, long after the X5's 3-year lease has quietly moved the actual cost onto somebody else's balance sheet rather than the driver's own. Every figure in this video came from the same institutions that price real risk for a living: Thatcham, the DVSA, CAP HPI, the SMMT, not from either manufacturer's own marketing department, which is precisely why the gap between the two cars is this hard to argue with once it's laid out side by side rather than buried across a dozen separate spec sheets nobody reads together. A car doesn't need to be exciting to be the financially correct decision. It just needs to still be worth something when the finance agreement on the exciting one has finally run out. Would you genuinely rather drive the badge for 3 years, or keep the £36,000 it costs someone else to let you borrow it? Tell me in the comments, because that's usually where the next one of these starts.